I'm going to go through just a kind of a flow drill, a trapping, counter-trapping flow drill, and it's kind of a sensitivity drill. Basically, you're looking at, in Pekiti Tirsia we do a lot of elbow traps, right? And the reason for the elbow, it's not technically, we call it an elbow trap, it's technically just above the elbow on the lower tricep. And what that does is it changes the mobility of the arm, okay, and allows us to trap the arm, and it gives us the ability to counter uncontested. Okay, so it's trapping the arm, particularly the upper arm, allows you to also control the person's upper body. So we're sensitive to, we're constantly looking for that, and we're sensitive to when it's being done to us and looking at ways to counter that. So this is kind of a counter trapping type drill, right? And so the first thing that we'll do is what we call a hubad movement. And what I'm doing is I'm using leverage. We use a lot of leverage at the elbow, using the elbow as a pivot point, but whether I'm going inward or outward with the arms, right? And so just being able to, a lot of times I'm using that to counter with, I've got a knife in my hand, maybe it's a wrist counter, and sometimes it's an elbow counter where I'm going the other direction. Okay, and so basically, if the elbow's been trapped right here with this hand's kind of trapping the elbow, and you've got a control right there. What I'm going, and maybe you're pushing across the body. One of the things I can do to counter that is to just go over and take over. And then what you could do is do the same, go over, pivot around, and just overtake that. Okay, so that's what we're looking at with that particular movement. So that's one of the first movements that we'll put into that. And again, it's just a matter of using the rotation at the elbow, going behind and then taking over. And then I might be looking for an elbow control a wrist control. Once the wrist is controlled, then it becomes harder to do that, right? So I want to do it before that wrist is being controlled. So that's one, where I'm just going here, and I do it to you, and then you'll do it back to me, and then I'll do it back to you, and we'll do it back and forth, okay? And just like that, boom, rotate, good. Second one we'll do is what we call an under sweep, okay? So the arm is here, and what I'm going to do now, instead of trying to go over like that, is I'm going to try and make a window here. So I'm going to raise my elbow up, and then from there I'm going to sweep down and then go to control there. And that's going to be our next one. So here, 1, 2, boom, and to elbow control. And then you might do the same. Good, sweep under, boom, boom, and I sweep under, bang, and it's kind of going back and forth. Okay. And then from there, we might look at going to the other arm. And so if I'm going to go to the other arm, so say maybe you're doing an under sweep there, then I might look at countering that and going to the wrist and transitioning to the other arm. So we're here, comes underneath. I might look at trying to control and get to the other arm, and then we start doing the same thing to this side here. So goes there, good, and then I'll do that same thing. Sweeps underneath, boom, and there, and I might sweep over the top, right? So we just kind of start going into a game of kind of catch and release, boom, where we're going through there and through there, right? So he goes through an undersweep there, and I go through this arm, right? And then we start looking at these movements here. Okay, so it could be going over, it could be going under, bang, untying that, okay, boom, and just circling around, boom, helping to assist that, bang, right? So that's, and then if the wrist is being held, then we could start looking at adding other elements into this, which could be wrist gains, where now I start going into here, I grab the wrist, and I start looking at wrist controls, right? And we start adding other I guess you could say, flows in there, where we start looking at a game of wrist control and it's basically a way of ingraining the familiarization with the joints and how to go straight into a hold that's going to allow you to manipulate that joint. So